Hey everybody, it's Kate. We're turning back the clock to Chapter 2 today. We're continuing the series where BQ, who's never played Deltarune before, goes chapter by chapter and gives me their live reactions. You can listen to this one as a standalone, but if you're interested in hearing them talk about playing Undertale but not Deltarune, and then Chapter 1, the links are in the description to those earlier episodes. A couple corrections from previous episodes. Back to episode 33. There is a Lancer and King scene if you visit the jail with Tenna still in Castletown. I forgot about this when we were talking about King as a father in the previous episode, and it's a shame because that's a great scene. It's very funny. You can check that out. And also in our Weird Root episode, talked about the Ferris wheel scene. That is currently unused in the code, or at least it has a condition that seems to be impossible to fulfill. Bit of a debate whether that was a deliberately left off or an accident. Either way, it's interesting to see stuff relating to the Weird Root fully written and buried in the code a bit, since, it's a bit of a story about tearing apart games that way, and that's a way that Noelle plays games too. Just something additional to think about to contextualize that scene that we talked about. A little bit of housekeeping. You can subscribe at groupofshrike.net to get access to our bonus episodes. I think the latest bonus episode is great. I had a wonderful time talking to Lux. It features the first live grandmother call in the history of my podcasts anyway. There's probably been some others, but I had a wonderful time, and we did do a little bit of Deltarune talk on that episode too. Lux played for the first time just this week, so if you enjoy hearing somebody's first time reactions to Deltarune and you want to hear a little bit more, you can check out Green Room at groupofshrike.net. Let's hop on over to our recording, and remember, this was previously recorded, so this is a flashback not just for BQ, but for me. This was originally recorded back on June 20th. Music by Highwell. It's June 20th, but this episode's probably not going to release until late July, which means it's a fascinating time capsule. So this is the continuation of our series from before with BQ. This is your third episode. So the first episode, I talked to you about having played Undertale, but not Deltarune. Mm-hmm. Now I'm talking to you about having played, and then I talked to you about having played Chapter 1, and now you've finished Chapter 2. Mm-hmm. And so you're caught up to Chapter 2, and so it's a time capsule of that experience for you, and it's a fun time capsule of an experience for me because I have not played Chapter 5 yet, whereas you, the listeners, and me, Kate from the future, who's editing this episode, have played Chapter 5. So first, before I ask our guest anything, I want to ask you, Kate from the future, how's Chapter 5? You liking it? Was it good? Yeah, honestly, I try not to do the vulgar ranking of things, but I think it might be my favorite chapter yet. I mean, the gameplay is incredible, and the character moments were awesome, and I've really enjoyed the episodes we've done on Chapter 5. Back to you, Kate. All right. Well, I'm glad and/or devastated.
The more I play this game, the more I can recognize, the possibility of that. God. Fuck. Okay. Sorry, for context, everybody, I'm an hour and a half out after finishing the Weird Route experience. So there's some emotions here.
You're very raw. I'm catching you I'm conducting an unethical experiment on you where I'm talking to you very soon after first exposure to the Chapter 2 Weird Route when the rest of us have had years to process it.
Yeah, it's luckily I really enjoy attention, so this works for me in some ways. It's really helping with the processing of things. I truly believe in having an audience to live blog my suffering to, so, just feels nice.
Yeah.
Just I'm back.
Yeah.
We're going for it.
Yeah. So Chapter 2, we talked about your reaction to the end of Chapter 1 with the knife, and Chapter 2 sort of starts with the fake out of, Kris, you rascal, you were just eating the pie. So let's pick up from there, from right at the start of Chapter 2.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Remember, starting that, because I also started Chapter 2 shortly after, recording for, the last episode, right? At least the last episode that we did. way back when.
Yeah.
And life has gotten in the way multiple times. It has just been like an onslaught. However, you know, in the periods of time where I'm completely lucid, also known as video games, it's sorry, I just like fell apart there, but
This is great, by the way. I'm like sitting across a table from you with the microphone in the middle, and I feel like this is such a serious interview.
I know it's great. I mean, I thought me sitting on the floor with you on the pew had the same amount of gravity, but
Yeah,
like
this feels a lot more legit.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I feel like Charlie Rose, but I feel like Charlie Rose without the horrific abuse scandal.
Okay, I'm gonna be so real with you. I'm totally blanking on who the fuck Charlie Rose is.
He was like a PBS interviewer guy, but
wait,
it
was like PBS and bad? Like PBS, we were failed by someone on PBS?
Yeah.
Cocksucker. Okay, well, unless the scandal involved that. In that case, some other
I don't
thing.
think it, well, maybe, I don't know if it, I don't know the full details, but he was actually a very bad interviewer. Well, he was a good interviewer in the sense that he asked really stupid questions to people, and I think that can sometimes be really revealing when you ask really dumb questions. Or, for example, if you derail your subject just while they're getting started with a fucking completely useless anecdote about a canceled PBS personality, then sometimes you can find unusual insight by being a dumbass when you're interviewing
I mean,
somebody.
you know, I think it like really like actually we can like pull this around because, you know, people sometimes hate television personalities, be it, you know, interviewers or game show hosts, which I've heard that's a sentiment that is shared by a character within chapter 2, and by shared and heard, it's Spampton hates someone who's a game show host.
That's true.
It's beautiful. It's
That's
beautiful.
true. All right.
Spampton's great, by the way.
Yes. Let's wait to get to Spampton though.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start back at the top. Sorry to derail you.
It's totally okay. Yeah. So, what do you want to know?
Yeah, so you start chapter 2 with sort of back into the routine.
Yes.
You know, there's a light world segment first. You go to school like always. So walk me through your reaction to that, sort of being back in the swing of things in Deltarune.
Really, really love how just right off the bat we have Susie now, who is just there. Like, Susie is locked in now. Susie is friendship maxing, camaraderie pilled, and I think that's beautiful. Just kind of being able to like go through that and then go into the dark world and just see everybody again. And there's something very, I think I've like already said like it was so needed and healing, but like legitimately there's, you know, I feel like Toby Fox's work just really hits that vein as well as some other veins multiple times with very, very sharp knives. But going through the room segment is something that really stuck and has me in a place. I wish I had like more notes from
Early on.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know if I was just like blowing up your DMs this time, but
I know that, I think for me at least, when I first, you know, there's that feeling of like, okay, I want to get to the dark world. I want to get to the dark world. I know that there's a dark, you know, I want to see the new stuff, right? And so there's a feeling of almost wanting to trip over yourself to get ahead in the early sections.
Yeah, and but it's just there's like so much opportunity to like write things and notice things. And like Kris's room, for example, with the straight up like the fucking closet with all the clothes that you can choose from. Like right off the bat, that was something that had me just like, okay, all right, got it.
Yeah,
I'm normal about this. I'm normal and well adjusted. And Susie just having a room. Yeah. Susie like being like, what? That is my impoverished little buddy. I love all of the kids in the little party. I think that they're great for different reasons, and we can go more into that like in depth later. But she really does hit like, I don't know. I want her to be okay. You know, she's special. She's good. Fuck Susie. God damn it. Okay, I'm thinking about Susie now. Just keep asking me things. We'll go.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because it feels like, you know, chapter 1 is really the story of Susie's development as a character, and by chapter 2, it feels like you've already, you know, she's in a sort of almost protagonist role, already, and you immediately that sympathy that you gain for her over the course of chapter 1 is sustained into chapter 2.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's such a heart when she's so excited to go back.
No,
that's so heartwarming, right?
It's
that's
so
exciting.
good. She has a place now. Like even before she gets a fucking room, she's like, "This is my people. This is fun." Like Lancer is here. Like
yeah. So then you see Ralsei again as well.
Yeah, and I love that thing. I really. The beautiful eyelashes that come out later. You like take off those glasses and it's like, oh, here, my beautiful anime eyes sparkling for all to see.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't even get mad. I can't even be like, fuck you, Ralsei, you're a piece of shit and I hate you. Like, Ralsei is just genuinely good.
Well, why would you?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, listeners.
No, I feel like sometimes people are just haters, okay? Sometimes you're a hater and you're like, I'm a hater preemptively because I know something is going to happen.
Okay, Valerie's
here.
kind of a Ralsei hater, actually.
And that's beautiful. I love Valerie.
I love Ralsei, so...
Yeah, I love Ralsei too, but you know.
Ralsei, actually, here's a little fun fact, because I haven't really introduced you to any of the meta-tech stuff yet, but Ralsei is actually the oldest character in the game in terms of... He's actually based on a childhood RPG character that Toby made with his brother when he was very young. So Ralsei actually, I think, predates everybody else in terms of, like, at least the name Ralsei. I don't know if the character shares any traits with that original character, but... So Ralsei really has the earliest origins of any character in the game.
Just for the audience to get a visual here, I'm making like a really pathetic pose of, I don't know, appreciation, heartwarming fluff, much like Ralsei's fluff.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Also coming up with a really bad joke, but we can.
What's the joke?
What's the joke I talked about earlier in our DMs? The horrible, the aborted older brother joke.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes. No, that's one of the funniest things that I've thought that somebody has speculated that Ralsei, because with the question of what Ralsei represents is a pretty big question that people have had, and your joke was that it's like the aborted older brother meme.
Yeah.
I could have beat that level in Metroid for you, Anon.
Yeah. I can't help it. This is not serious, but I know some people would take it serious because, like, in the past, I have had, like, complete bullshit theories about other properties that mostly have been me just fucking with people, but then people believe them, and I think that's beautiful and just, attests to my abilities to sell people on things. God, I love sales. I don't love sales. Why am I saying I love sales? I don't know, but we're in a place. We'll have a separate episode for the aborted older brother theory, maybe. I don't know. No, we shouldn't.
Okay, unless chapter 5 really goes places, in which case I guess we'll have to.
In that case, I'm just a genius.
Yeah, it's true.
True.
If it happens, then you called your shot better than anybody else.
That's right.
But,
Sorry.
But you get... I'm allergic to BQ's cat, by the way, if you're wondering.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I'm allergic to all cats, but I have a cat, but I've tolerated him over the years.
I mean, same. I'm tolerant of Ezra's stuff.
Yeah.
And with her, horrible first month. I was just eating Benadryl.
Yeah,
then
me
I
too
learned
with
that
Ezra.
I learned that apparently the amounts of Benadryl that I was taking were like dangerous.
Very dangerous.
I know, and I never even saw the Hat Man. Like, I never fucking saw the Hat Man.
It's a very bad time to take too much Benadryl. It's like one of the worst things you can do to your brain.
And in retrospect, the fact that I was like taking a ton of Benadryl throughout like all of 2020 through like 2022, maybe some things are clearing up.
I mean, I was also doing that and a lot of marijuana at the time. Just so much.
Oh my God, did we just like figure out everything that was wrong with us?
I mean, we kind of time skipped for two years.
We
there.
really did.
That was a little bit of if you ever want to fast travel through 2 years, have a global pandemic happen and then take too much Benadryl and weed edibles.
And White Claw. Summer of the Claw.
I did not drink much
Well,
White Claw.
I had White Claw. I didn't have weed because it made me annoying.
It's substance abuse talk right here on Survey Program Podcast.
We need to start having headcanons for substance abuse for the characters. No, we shouldn't.
No, probably
do that.
not.
We shouldn't. We would no.
I mean,
well,
put a pin in that. We'll talk about it in chapter 4.
Okay, all right, cool. Yay! Saying things that may or may not be real.
Yeah.
Yay, cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit in the future. Berdly, Noelle. Berdly and Noelle starting to get involved now.
Still fucking hate Berdly. Sorry. Even after playing through the entire chapter, I hate Berdly. I'm a certified Berdly hater.
So now you know, though. Now you know why one of the funniest moments that the audience liked in our chapter 1 episode was when you said, "I wish I could kill Berdly."
I know, it's great. I'm really, I feel rewarded in some ways. Admittedly, when I was watching that, I was like, oh my god, for a lot of reasons that weren't directly related to, that. But god, I fucking hate that guy. I'm sorry, I know that's a teenager. I know that's an awkward teenager who's desperate to be, like, accepted in the world and wants validation and wants to be important despite, his lacking talent and positive personality traits, and I don't know, I feel like there's other things that may be a little bit less objective, but holy fucking shit, I have known so many Berdlys in my life, and they're in like the same vein of like the guys who think they're Scott Pilgrim to me. They're not like one-on-one, but I've known both genres of this guy, and in high school they're just so impossible to deal with. And I think like Susie and Noelle, both, like, their reactions to Berdly are just very apt to the experience in a way that actually kind of makes me want to throw up a little. So I can't be entirely like sympathetic to Berdly. I am empathetic. I understand why Berdly is like this. I can't be sorry for him.
I mean, you basically summed up our Berdly episode, I would say.
Great. Okay. Awesome. Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Or something.
Because, he very much is a representation of, like... he's sort of a representation of, like... I don't know, about the way that, like, masculinity's, like a raw deal for everybody, not just like everybody around, but also he's performing this set of expectations that is clearly just not working at all for him. And I'm not saying, let me be extremely clear here, because I do think this about a lot of characters. I'm not saying Berdly is trans feminine, but I'm saying that performing his internalized idea about masculinity is not working for him, and it's not working for anybody around him, right? And so he feels like a representation of that, like, having these ideas about what being a cool guy is, and it not working at all. And and also he's just a shitty group. I mean, this is just a shitty group partnership to have.
It just sucks. And I really do like how probably the I don't want to say well-adjusted necessarily, even though in my heart she's well-adjusted, but the most comfortable and I guess like feminine representation ever also hates Berdly. I'm talking about Queen.
Yeah.
I love how she just completely rejects him in every way.
Yeah.
And like just has nothing but disdain for him.
Berdly.
Or not even like disdain necessarily, but like just kind of like indifference.
Yeah, she doesn't even know his name.
That's worse than hatred.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's just like, oh, it's you, that the one who's here,
the blue one,
the blue one,
Berdly.
Yeah, Berdly. Bird boy.
Yeah.
If hell.
And I don't know, I think it's also interesting, the Noelle Berdly relationship is really interesting. And, the fact that, I don't know, I just think there's a lot to be said about how, like, the sort of traditionally feminine, high-achieving student is, like, assigned to, is, like, basically, like, his keeper,
exactly.
And I think that's a dynamic that plays out a lot in schools.
It makes me want to die.
Yeah.
Christ.
And so you get to the dark world. Yeah, you go to the library for the. I'm trying to think about if there's anything about the light world segment beforehand that you want to that is worth talking. I don't think so. You kind of go straight to the library.
Outside of like traffic jams, which are funny.
That's funny.
It's so funny.
Yeah. If you didn't do the egg, I didn't have you do the eggs, so that's the one thing you're missing. But you actually can encounter possibly the man. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
I have
the
no
mystery
idea.
man in one of the cars, which is one of his 2 appearances in the light world, and that's surprising to me. That was shocking to me. The presence. So I'll talk to you a little bit about. I'll make sure you get egg lore before you move on to chapter 3.
Okay, sick.
But that's about it. That happens in chapter 2. You see Undyne lifting cars. Whatever, lesbian slop.
Such lesbian slop. More on that later, though, because I actually do have some thoughts in the second.
Oh, good.
Oh, my God, yeah, so many there, too. Fuck, that was like...
Yeah, but yeah, you go to the library, you go to the dark world, and you meet up with Ralsei again. You're on for another adventure, and I still think the very best part of the game is that stunning leap in production quality and overall polish, that feeling of walking into that Chapter 2 Dark World for the first time and Welcome to the City plays, and you get these little synchronized elements, and it's just like, oh my god, you're blowing my mind. I remember my first time playing this, I mean, you're blowing my mind. Deltarune is much bigger than Undertale ever was, and that's still my favorite part. That feeling, whenever I hear Welcome to the City, I still think about that feeling of like, oh, it's bigger than I could ever have imagined.
It's so fucking good, and the music is so good. The music in 1 is great. The music in 2, like, has done something to me even more. Also, it's green, which I am a fan of. I think that's good. There should be more green in this world.
Yeah, great visuals.
Oh my god, yeah, it's just like eye candy across the board. Like, I don't even... It's like, okay, I like both chapters thus far. But in terms of aesthetics, Chapter 2 hits. Like, I am being, like, catered to.
Yeah.
I am, like, eating so much of this. I am getting ill in the restroom in this great restaurant afterwards because of the amount of good food here.
I mean, you're running into these amazing... I think one of the reasons why Chapter 2 really hits for me, and Chapter 2 is my favorite, by the way. So this is... We're talking about my favorite chapter. So this is... Chapter 2 is my favorite. But I think one of the reasons why Chapter 2 is so fun and so cool is that the Darkner designs are really, because you're in this sort of virtual environment, you can have a lot of metaphorical designs. Instead of each Darkner one-to-one corresponding to a physical object in the light world, you can get stuff like pop-ups or, werewires or stuff where you get much more metaphorical ideas about what the Darkness
tasks. Can be. I love the tasks.
Yes.
Tasks are my favorite, actually, like, hands down. They are so cute and good, and they make me happy, and I love Tasque Manager. Tasque Manager is wonderful, and I want to be her friend, and or I want to look like her. It's a complex thing. It's like, sometimes I get this, like, really weird, kind of, like, confusing, like, gender envy, but also it's like, do I want to be her, or do I want to be with her?
I feel like it's a pretty common lesbian experience.
Yeah, but am I a lesbian, really?
You've got a lesbian flag right over there, don't you?
Yeah, but that's for Lila.
Sorry, I didn't know where you were at on your...
I mean, I also have the bisexual one right there.
I see, yeah.
And then I have, like, other random things that are pretty lesbian-ish coded,
Okay.
But
well, that's your Wallowa experience, or however you want to
I'm
talk
a
about
homo
it.
flexible. I go by whatever, like, pisses people off the most. I did have a guy
Which I will say, homo flexible is a great one to say if you want to piss people off.
Yeah, it's so great. I had a guy think I was bi-curious, like, 2 days ago. That was a bizarre experience.
And did you reply that you're bi-furious and start beating him up?
No, I started, like, talking about my complex relationship with gender and sexuality, and he got more and more confused the more I talked. It was great. Valerie was, like, smiling so much.
Was this one of the Australians?
No, this was another guy. He's from Pennsylvania.
Oh, I see. We're hosting the World Cup right now in our beautiful city in Seattle.
It's fantastic,
and it's really awesome. Yeah, BQ and I are both loving it. I think it's so cool to have people from all over the world coming here, and
genuinely, it's just like the connection of, like,
the city's so alive. It's so awesome.
A bunch of humans love a thing.
Yeah.
And I've been talking about this with some of my friends where I'm like, okay, sports are actually good.
Yeah.
People who are like sports ball and shit need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because there's this bonding element that brings everybody together. And it doesn't matter if you have, like, weird interpersonal issues outside. Like, in theory, like, if you guys met, like, in person without the sports context, you might hate each other. But right now, your guys are winning against the other guy, or they're losing against the other guy, but those are your guys. So there's this beautiful bond that happens, and I think that's really interesting, to see in real life, but also to see within, like, narrative formats.
Yeah.
Because, that does happen in Deltarune, right?
We've done 2 sports episodes of this show already.
Oh, seriously?
We did an episode. I did an episode with Nilin about how there should be sports spin-offs of Deltarune, like Deltarune Tennis or whatever.
Oh, nice.
And I did an episode with Triumph and Valerie where we drafted baseball teams out of Deltarune characters.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Baseball is a thing.
Baseball is a thing. The moon's a baseball in Noelle's in the Dark World in Chapter 2.
Beautiful.
It's very interesting.
It's beautiful.
What do you think about that?
That is a great question that I'm actually going to have to ponder.
Yeah, I guess keep that in mind.
I might have not actually recognized the baseball moon thing. I was mostly talking about Queen throwing those things at me.
That's true. Queen's got that high leg kick, which is a reference to, like, Dontrell Willis or something. Like, she's got that really crazy pitching delivery.
Are baseballs, like, related to, like, the female ego or something.
Maybe.
Like, are we getting that chucked at us as like yo, assert something, like just get it together, like hitting you with the like estrogen beam? Like, what's up with that? There's a lot to think about here and unpack. Is like being like #woman the path to freedom here? Like, genuinely, like, is embracing that better?
Sometimes you say stuff where I don't know if you're shit posting or if you know something or not, but you accidentally say stuff that's like incredibly insightful that I would need to brief you on more chapter 3 and 4 stuff to.
I'm gonna be real with you. Most of the time, it's just shit posting.
Yeah.
I don't really know any of the context outside of porn for Deltarune. We've been through this.
Yes, it's true.
Most of it is porn, and but also.
So I'm sure you were familiar with Tasque Manager already.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I've been like familiar with Tasque Manager. I had so many mutuals who were like, "Here's this little blue thing that is my icon," and I was like, "All right." Wow.
Chapter 2 also has the horniest NPC designs by far.
Oh my God.
The Werewire's Tasque Manager. I mean, I guess even Queen herself. There's a lot going on.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's great.
Even Spam to Neo has a whole Shibari thing going on, maybe. What am I talking about? What am I saying?
You know, it is interesting, though, like, if you think about it, in terms of, like, the sex-negative stuff that we've been fed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in the light world.
Yeah.
In comparison to this. And even, like, Chapter 1, I feel like Chapter 1 isn't necessarily sexual as much as it's like, all right, you know, you're in this development stage, like, your main kind of guy within all of this is, like, Lancer at that point. Lancer's a kid. Lancer's a little kid who I love, and I adore Lancer. Lancer forever, yes.
Yeah.
Kind of funny remembering that I was, like, I feel, like, maternal towards him, but don't want to, like, you know, assign myself that role. He gets to choose it, and then he gets a girl dad, which I'm like, you know, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
That is.
Oh, love that, by the way. I love situationships. But shit, where was I going with that? Yeah, sexuality.
Well, and it's interesting because I feel like, Chapter 2 being representative of the internet in a lot of ways, right? And it's also representative of Noelle's experience with the internet, right? And specifically, like, Noelle used this laptop that became this dark world instead of her computer at home, right? And so I think there's that implication of, like, self-discovery through the internet that, you know, happens in your teenage years that certainly happened with me, right? And, you know, that takes on a lot of facets.
Yeah.
And I do think that the fact that some of the NPC designs do outright lean into the, more erotic elements is kind of interesting in that context. Yeah. Please don't cancel me. I'm trying to say something serious here.
like same. I feel like, you know, it's important stuff that needs to be said, and it is reflective of real life experience of being a kid online. Like, it happens, and it happens for better or worse. You know,
when you're fighting the pop-ups, there's the spam pop-ups of, like, you know, lighteners for darkners in your area or hot Santas in your area that Noelle is clicking on. Yeah, exactly.
It's very. I just feel like Noelle's agency within all of this, you know, like, of course, like, spam pop-ups are, like, one thing. But just kind of watching the way in, like, both routes, like, how she kind of develops, it's been really, like, kind of hitting me. Brutally. Yeah.
And nobody tells Noelle that this is really happening. Yeah. That's another thing. Even our heroes, even, you know, Susie and you know, doesn't, nobody respects Noelle enough to say this isn't a dream and it's really happening. Like they're lying to Noelle the whole time.
It's like, even though she is just as important as them and just as powerful and, you know, just as, like, capable. Yeah. She still isn't really regarded as a member of the party, not in the real way. Like, she's there, but she's still manipulated and like, kept in the dark about things.
And you know, in the weird, like, Spamton calls her a Hochi Mama.
Yeah.
I think
there's that, oh God.
Yes. We're still putting a pin in that. We're not going fully into it. We're gonna pivot to that at some point, but we're still going to try to stay mostly on the normal route. But yes, like, and it's like, you know, Noelle, in a lot of ways, this dark world is about Noelle, right? I mean, you have that extended sequence with spelling December's name out, and, you know, you first get that encounter. You start to learn more about Noelle's backstory, which is funny because it's first revealed to you as Berdly's tragic backstory, but it's actually, of course, it's actually about Noelle. And you start to realize what's motivating Noelle. So tell me a little bit about discovering that.
I did not expect to like connect with Noelle on so many levels. I do think it's interesting though with Berdly, Berdly's tragic backstory, how everything that we kind of learn about Noelle is usually through like the context of someone else. It's not hers. Nothing is really hers. We see it through this lens of how someone else was in pain. Even when Noelle's trying to talk about her own shit, she's kind of masking it in a weird way. She's sort of dismissive of her own angst too, like with the mouse thing. Like she wasn't really like necessarily taking control of that situation, which is understandable because she's afraid, but she's afraid. Like, and it just keeps like shit keeps getting like flung at her. When she finally does express though what she wants, and like Queen actually responds like kind of positively towards the end, that's crazy. I don't know, that just feels like such a relief. Because this like person who's been antagonizing her and like stomping all over her is like, oh, okay, you actually said what you wanted. Great.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? How does that happen? And is that just because Queen is a computer? Or is it because there's like some kind of sense of like genuine, I don't know, care? But it feels better than like everything else.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, it's like even with like Susie being like those sweet little moments that you can give that like, oh yeah, Yuri. There's that like, oh, it's all a dream thing that kind of dampens it for me, you know?
And so you've brought up three different things. You've brought up three different relationships for Noelle, and I kind of want to dive into each of these, right?
Hell
and
yeah.
So first off, with Kris. So first off, the mouse thing, right? And sort of what Noelle tells you. There's this sense that Kris and Noelle, that there's this almost antagonistic, not fully antagonistic, but like Kris enjoys pushing Noelle's buttons, right? Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Oh dear God.
There's a history there.
There is. And, at first I was like, okay, maybe this is kind of cute and sweet. A little sad in the way it is like, sometimes you're a kid and you grow up and there's another kid. There's the neighbor kid or the family friend kid and you're close. And it's mostly just because of proximity, but there is a closeness there, right?
Yeah.
And it fades and it's kind of weird and uncomfortable because, this is someone who you've known your entire life or whatever, but it does get, just a little messy with it at the same time, but...
It's a little bit like Calvin and Susie and Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, and that's how I, felt about it originally.
Yeah.
And then I kept playing, and it doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels a little intensely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, was this kind of like a way of exercising control over her in a way? Was this a way of just feeling better about Kris's own insecurities? Was this Kris just being really not well adjusted and kind
by
of just
this, tell me what you mean by this.
Just constantly pushing her and not really respecting her and being like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing that freaks you out. And I forget what it was that Rudy said about Kris's behavior in chapter 1 towards Noelle, unless I'm completely making something up in my head. But there's a history of just this weird I'm gonna pull your pigtails type of shit.
Yeah.
Which is always kind of dismissed in real life. Oh, that kid just likes you and this is just how they play. It's no, that hurts and that sucks.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's kind of normalized is upsetting.
Yeah.
There's just so much that's upsetting. Fuck. I'm trying to keep it together right now because I have metaphors. A lot of metaphors there. lot of analogies.
I'm pushing you on this because I think it's really interesting to because it's impossible to have a conversation about this now without knowing what we know from future chapters, and so getting the chance to speak to you about this before you've been influenced by that, I find it really fascinating. Hey, Future Kate here. We're about to talk Weird Roots, so normal content warnings apply. One thing I wanted to say is that I would say this is very strongly, my part in this is very strongly reflecting my perspective before Chapter 5 came out. And really, I feel like I missed the ball a lot on Noelle's character in light of what we know in Chapter 5 now. So I don't stand by a lot of what I said here. Now, some of the later stuff I do say, I still stand by. I think some of it's good, but it's an interesting time capsule as to where I was at prior to Chapter 5. And if you're interested in more about this, please listen to our updated Weird Root episode in light of Chapter 5, because it really changed how I feel and what I think about Noelle even more strongly.
This is going to be a little bit hard. This is a little hashtag content warning. But I do think it needs to be said in regards to kind of everything with Noelle. A lot of it, to me, personally, really reads as, like, first of all, just misogyny. It's just straight up misogyny, regardless of the other characters' gender identities. This is someone who is, like, put in the girl box, and the girl box is not a good place. The girl box sucks. But there's also a lot of elements of coercion and control, emotionally abusive relationships, gaslighting, just kind of like what it's like to be in a really bad situation and not having the ability to like really see it yet, even when things are cool, it like there's a sense of like, oh, you're just a girl. I'm not gonna tell you things.
To circle back on this, to invoke Berdly in a way that's actually serious, as we were talking about, like Berdly being in the trying to put yourself in the man box isn't working for anybody, and it makes you miserable. I mean, the same thing is happening with Noelle. They're foils for each other in a lot of ways, and Noelle is an example of how being placed into this traditional like feminine role, being the girl, is can really be harmful too.
Yeah, it's like she has to be soft and delicate. She doesn't really make any decisions for herself at first. She doesn't really speak up for herself at all. And when there isn't like this current of manipulation going on, it's still very painful. She's still kind of thrown around, like she's sort of made like a joke of almost.
Yeah, and I mean we can bring in because we can't talk about this. We can bring in the Weird Root, which is really about really uncomfortable. It's really, really uncomfortably about pushing her limits and pushing her beyond her boundaries.
Oh my God, yeah. It made me like legitimately very upset. To be completely transparent.
It's nauseating.
Yeah, it felt like shit. Sorry, I'm getting all I'm like, okay, mascara is waterproof. We're great. It takes almost 36 hours to fully get off my face. I don't know why. I use so many different makeup removers. So if I cry, it's going to be fine. Sort of. I don't know. Maybe. I wish. But just watching her get further and further away from herself throughout all of that. Having her just at first be like, wait, what are you doing? But like, just staggering, I guess, and starting to accept it and being like, well, it sucks, but here, I think I wrote it down. So they weren't trying to hurt me. They were making me stronger. And just thinking of that and not remembering exactly how things are done. Also just like the bit with, when they get the freeze rain, right? And first of all, I do want to put a pin in the angel thing, because that's really, I have many thoughts about that. But Kris being like, we're something else over and over again, like we're not dating, we're something else, that really makes me miserable. Because yeah, they aren't dating. No, but there's something just about the wording there that it feels like they're diminishing what Noelle is. Like, there's a role, but she's not a friend. She's not, like, an acquaintance. She's not a party member. She's something else, and that's ambiguous. What the fuck is something else?
Well, and if you remember in chapter 1, Noelle seems surprised that Kris is talking to her again. It seems like there's been a gap where they haven't been close for a while.
Yeah,
And I mean, Noelle is reminiscing about when they were close throughout the entire Dark World, right?
And she wants that.
Yeah.
She misses that so bad.
Yeah, and right, let's not say it's all one-sided, right?
Yeah.
It's absolutely, there's yearning. I mean, Noelle is yearning the character in a lot of ways.
She wants friendship, and she wants that closeness and the companionship, and the fact that, like, when she finally does get it, it's kind of weird and disjointed. And then when she gets it in Snowgrave, it's scary and it's terrifying, but they're back. And how could they hurt her? How could that couldn't be real?
Yeah.
Absolutely. She must be imagining things, and that's, like, bad on her.
Yeah.
She's getting better because of them.
Yeah.
They're helping her.
Yeah.
She should be grateful.
Yeah.
Also, a bunch of things don't fully make sense, and she's not totally sure why things are happening. And, she must be saying things out loud, right? Like, that, come on. And it's just so crushing.
It's shockingly intense for the video game. I mean, it's shockingly intense for the tone of the game. Like, the whole thing is, it really, really surprised me.
Yeah, I'm really glad that I didn't do some, like, does the dog die type of thing. Because, I do that with, like, movies.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there are things that will really fuck me up, and I think that, that's the same for a lot of people. But this is, like, one of those moments where in my head I'm kind of like, okay, I'm so glad I could experience this, like, blind. At the same time, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna need a bit, like, a hour, or several. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry for, again, the unethical experiment where I'm putting a microphone in front of you right after this.
It's so okay. I feel like, it's better material that way.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, shout out to everyone else who has studied the lore. But, you got to see my recently broken mind because, it sells. What a curse being a beautiful woman and new hatchling and all this shit. Oh my God, my brain. Okay.
Yeah. And I just think, I don't know, I think a lot of what Toby Fox does as a writer, especially with this, is he uses the familiar forms of children's or young adult entertainment to smuggle in surprisingly mature and fully formed ideas, into an audience who, if you spelled it all out explicitly, would not be receptive, right? Or would be limited. The audience would be limited in scope, right? And I think this comes up a lot in terms of people frustrated by Fox's, unwillingness to, like, publicly put characters into identity boxes, right? But I think this works really for everything about the way that Deltarune Undertale and his other works tell stories, is that I think putting something like this in this context in the video game and having it be this, like, secret that you discover is a really surprising way to do it. And I also think it loops in with what we've talked about on the podcast that you haven't heard yet sometimes, which is talking about, like, the gamer identity, or, like, the thought of, like, playing games about trying to devour these games and find all their secrets, and that attracting a certain type of person that Berdly may represent, right? And putting these ideas in the route that's designed for those people, right? Designed for data miners and people looking to tear open a game and find all its secrets to find, is really subversive.
Yeah, it's... I do kind of like how it is a secret, though, like, symbolically, I guess. Just because, you've got a secret boss, but then you have, like, this alternative, like, route in general. And you can only get there by making extremely painful decisions. But once you're there, you can't unsee it. You can't be like, oh yeah, no, this is, like, this is fake or whatever.
Yeah.
This is just fluff. Like, no, this is a reality that could happen if someone did make these decisions within a game, but also, in life. If you make shitty decisions, you're going to hurt people.
Yeah.
And it just, narratively, it's fantastic. Emotionally, I'm like, also, this is just really true to real life as well. And, I feel like a little bit of a broken record again. It just hits in all the right places. Is that a good thing for my psyche? Question. I hyperlink blocked. Fuck. About that though.
Yeah, I do want to keep on the Noelle track for a little bit before we pivoted to Spampton and some of the other stuff.
Oh yeah, it still is Noelle.
Okay.
It's all gonna kind of,
okay.
There's like layers here,
right.
okay? Because when Noelle is referred to as an angel, that's kind of funny to me, because we're gonna go into the Kris Demonology real moment, but would you like me to?
Please.
Okay. So Kris Demonology Theory, and this is for both like weird route and normal route, and Spampton is so tied into this, and Noelle is as well. And I think it's God, it's just so fucking good. I'm sorry, I'm just like, how do I articulate how good this is? Because holy fucking shit. Spampton referring to himself as a puppet, and I think Kate was kind of subjected to me like screaming in her DMs as I was playing, and I'd like say something and I'd be like, wow, puppet, that's so true. And then like I would go to the next thing and it literally would show the puppet thing, like me being like, wow, Spampton's like a puppet still attached to the strings. And then he's like, wait, I'm still a puppet. And I'm like, that's my man. I fucking get him. I understand. But there's this sense of despair about that, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Noelle becomes the puppet, and when she becomes the puppet, then Kris gets a level of agency, which I'm still kind of confused by, or not confused, but perplexed. Because, we as a player are making those decisions, but Kris doesn't seem to resist them as much. You know what I mean? Kris is like, okay, cool, we're doing it. One word answers, little commands. And I'm like, are we indulging Kris, or are we indulging ourselves and trying to be like, hey, no, it's like, this is all Kris wanting this.
Well, because there is, in both Spampton fights, in the normal route, Kris is very resistant and clearly very upset and shouting. Yeah. And in the weird route fight, Kris is asking for help, or you know, praying for help, or also, like, they're clearly uncomfortable in both routes with Spampton. Yeah. Around Spampton.
Yeah. It's just how Spampton interacts with Kris in both that worry me.
There's a level of familiarity that is surprising.
It's very disturbing.
Yeah.
Because normal ways, it feels like there's a bond there, and there is that familiarity, but it feels a little bit more like welcome, I guess. Something interesting to me was how when Kris goes into Spampton's shop, we're like, go in. And then Susie's like, what the fuck? Why can't we come in? You want to do this alone? And I'm like, oh, interesting. That's Kris actually making a decision to do something that we don't get to do, like as the player. And they talk and they have several very interesting conversations that they don't feel bad, but they do feel a way. God.
And so let's bring this back to Noelle. Mm-hmm. Talk to me a little bit about what you see with the angel symbology.
Spampton is the other angel. That's a thing. Uh-huh. And Spampton wants to be free, desperately. And he recognizes this within Noelle as well, because once Noelle is under control, then Kris is not the same as Spamton anymore. Kris isn't just a puppet. Kris is also a puppet master, and then Spamton becomes significantly more coherent. There isn't that kind of like, hey man, we're both getting like tugged around. We are puppets on the string, man. We're making it happen. No, it's like, you're doing this. After everything, I showed you what is happening and you're doing this? Like, what the fuck? And it is so, like, I can't. Like, what the... Okay. I'm trying.
Listener, I'd like to remind you that BQ has not played Chapter 3 or 4, seen any meta, or seen any of the post-Chapter 2 ARG stuff, including the Spamton sweepstakes. So I just, like, if you're as impressed as I am, it's just... I'm sorry that I keep poking you on this, but I'm just so impressed that you came away with this after finishing your first playthrough today.
I know you love my suffering. It's great. I'm an artist. Okay, nobody understands me.
The rest of us have had years to come to some of these conclusions.
Keep that in. You can keep that in.
Yeah.
Spamton's like a guardian angel to Kris in one context, and really, really wants to help.
Yeah.
That is someone who has been cast out of heaven.
Yeah.
And, you know, Kris inherits his old room.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure why Spamton was there and what the fuck Spamton was doing, but something broke. Something really broke. And, you know, the mirror of it all, like, learning that Spamton's talking about, like, everyone is going to leave you.
Yeah.
And I do think it's interesting that Spamton doesn't, like, raise his attack weird-wise, right? It's defense. Like, he's building up defense, and it's really, really hard to, like, attack him. And that's why Kris is calling for help.
Yeah.
It's not like a, hey, I'm like on my final breath or anything. It's like, hey, help me kill this guy.
Yeah.
Come on, let's kill this guy. Where are you? Kill this guy. And the only person who actually comes through is Noelle, who's completely controlled at this point.
Yeah.
Like, this is the puppet. She has been weaponized. She has a purpose and she's fulfilling it. It's complete obedience, even when she's trying or is asleep. And that is so miserable.
Yeah.
That is completely, like, agonizing.
Yeah.
Because, like, throughout all of that, too, you're just getting that dialogue, which is, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, at first I was like, what? Are you gonna, like, fuck me over at the good part? Like, what are you, a game show host? Shout out to Charlie Rose, who is not a game show host, but was at the beginning of this episode. You know, straight up references being from a broken home, which is like, I'm like, how would Spamton know that about Kris?
Yeah.
Like how much influence, like, or not influence necessarily, but, like, what sort of window into, like, Lightners do, like, members of the Dark World have, you know? Because it's like, I know that Queen has been like, hey, everybody, let's look at your, like, internet searches. I know things about you. How would Spamton do that exactly? Yeah. Like, what the fuck does Spamton, like, fully do? Because I know that this is someone who's, like, you know, selling ads, and has some level of, you know, bless you.
Thank you.
It just feels like a little too on the money to be completely, like, coincidental, or symbolic, or metaphorical, or whatever.
Yeah, and taking the needle off the weird route and trying to get back, you know, as hard as it is to move off the weird route.
I know.
Back
Sorry.
on the normal route.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Noelle and Queen. I want to talk about Queen a little bit. You already talked about Queen's sort of respecting Noelle in a way that other characters don't, right? And the story, the chapter sort of ends with Noelle. Well, I mean, with Noelle expressing her desire and the Queen respecting it, and sort of everybody coming to the realization that Queen doesn't really want to bring about the apocalypse. She's just like trying to have some fun, basically. And it's like
Queen's just doing shit.
Yeah,
Queen's just having a good time.
Yeah. And she did a great job. She made a really fun Dark World.
I know,
really
she's awesome.
Yeah.
I fucking love Queen.
Yeah.
Before everything got weird, and also before Spamton, I was like, fuck yes, Queen. And that was like my highlight. I was like, this is great. This is the ideal being. This is the most perfect thing that has ever existed in the known universe. And that all of those things are still true. Who am I kidding? They're great. I love her. I want to cosplay her.
And
she's
notably,
so cool.
in the Weird Root, like, she's totally marginalized. She basically doesn't appear, after the Weird Root starts, because a character that respects Noelle's agency can't be a part of that narrative coherently. Yeah. Right? And so, but, in the main, Queen is awesome. Queen fucking rules, and she's also hilarious. Like, Chapter 2 also really struck me as, like, a chapter that just really nails it comic timing-wise, and one of the most accomplished video games I've ever seen.
Seriously.
At being funny, at being well-timed. It's comedy is something that a lot of video games really fail at, and I thought that Chapter 2 really succeeded at.
Yeah, I mean, it means titty. Like, what the fuck? That was great. Kris, get the banana. The fact that she has mixtapes is just like... I have something that you never will have. Detachable hands. Like, fuck you! Like, what the... Come on. Yeah. Come the fuck on. Yeah. That's great. That's...
And before we move from Noelle completely, I also wanted to say December.
Yeah.
Tell me about December. Tell me what you've learned about December.
Okay. I love an older sibling. I love when there's, little hints here and there. And, I mean, we get that, like, with Asriel, of course. But we also know that Asriel is, like, alive. We have confirmation of this. With December, it's a little bit more ambiguous. Something did happen. We don't know what happened fully. And as much as I would love to be just like, oh yeah, here's like a final assumption, I don't want to say anything and then cry about it later.
No,
with my
I'm gonna
genius.
push you. I'm gonna push you. Sorry. Tell me what you think is going on.
And like hometown or whatever. Is it hometown?
Yeah.
I'm always going to forget. I don't know. I think about the concept of a hometown and I'm like, oh, nauseated. Time to wipe this from my mind. Shout out to In a Lake by Mitski, because that really, amplifies things. I feel like Kris needs to listen to that and then would be completely fine forever. With Asgore getting like giga fired, and also, like, Gersen, or however the fuck to say his name, like, dying. I'm not sure how tied those events are, even though I do think that there is something there because of Undyne and Alphys taking over for both of them, respectively. There's some meat, but it makes me wonder, like, if, like, Des's lack of appearance begins there, or at least somewhere marginally within that timeline. The fact that all the other characters who have, like, brought her up have kind of done it delicately and don't really say what happened. That avoidance is very telling. Like, I don't know what the severity of it was, but, like, generally speaking, when someone's dead or ambiguously dead, or even if they're very alive and very present but went through something completely fucking horrific, I find that kid gloves are used.
Yeah.
Like, it's different if it's like, hey, someone died in a natural way that is very terrible and very sad. Because then we'll have a memorial of some kind. We're gonna, like, be like, she was like a fighter till the end, and we are so proud of her, and she's gone from this world too soon, and now she's looking over us, and also here's the foundation that we caused to, like, you know, try to cure whatever incurable disease she had. And, you know, that's good. That's something that can be really beautiful. But, like, when you have someone who was, you know, viciously, like, raped and murdered by serial killer McGee, you know, you don't get that as much. That's especially in smaller towns, because, you know, nothing bad ever happens in a small town, you know, and when it does, it's like this huge fucking thing. And it's like, we never thought it would happen here, where we keep all of our doors unlocked, and also everyone knows everything, and we condone bad behavior and just don't do anything about it. And I don't know, I do think that she is dead. I'm just afraid. I guess I'm too afraid to theorize on how that happened. But I'm imagining that it's probably awful and not good, and it is something that is really haunting these characters. You know, like, it just sucks.
Yeah.
It just really fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not even a, like, don't speak ill of the dead thing, because there's just, people will bring up, like, Asriel constantly. But nothing is really said about December outside of, like, family members.
Yeah.
And then briefly Susie, I think. Like, and I don't know how much Susie knows
Susie's
about
new in
everything.
town,
Yeah,
so-
Susie's, like, fresh.
Yeah.
Susie, but still knows this.
Yeah.
So it's, like, something that people do talk about, just not around Noelle. And I wonder if they're just also avoiding talking about it in front of Kris, if Kris had some level of involvement or understanding about what happened, which, you know, would kind of add to the, like, oh, hey, Kris is kind of fucked up, but, like, it's chill. Kris is just kind of, like, you know, fucked up, but just scary, but not necessarily bad. I don't know. What was that gesture?
Oh, I'm just thinking about, yeah, and so, all right, that's good. I think that covers, so you get, you know, you come to an understanding with Queen, you steal the Dark Fountain, you bring everybody over to Castletown, you get another walk around hometown segment. I'm trying to think about what the major things are. I mean, you don't get to meet Papyrus again. The fucker Sans is fucking with you again.
Gotta love the depressed, quiet brother.
Yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
Sad. It's
Yeah.
not good. It's really sad, actually.
Yeah. You know, hometown. Anything in particular you wanted to talk about hometown chapter 2 ending?
Yeah, actually, I have my private little Discord server where I have a bunch of screenshots just for myself.
Nice.
It's pretty great. It's called the ABBA soundboard because it's also a bunch of, like, ABBA soundboard clips.
Yeah.
Because I'm a genius, and also if someone has the same clips as me, I want to die. No doubles. Fuck you. I get the gimme, gimme, gimme intro. Nobody else. You've never heard that before, have you? We need to get in a Discord call together sometime. Damn. Yeah. Oh my god, so many. So Father Elvin, revealing that despite the absence of sin or confession in our religion, Asriel's just, like, confessing to fucking everything. Like, I am so sorry that I did bad on the Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like, and then also confessing for Kris's apparent sins of intentionally killing things in a video game, which, hey, really interesting given Snowgrave. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Asgore being a cop, that I was like, oh, that pathetic bastard.
Yeah.
He's trying to do his, like, rebrand of Soft Flower Guy.
Yeah.
Fuck that. You know, this is great. I'm just gonna, like, show you this. Starting at please. This is in reference to going into the shop and then having Toriel come in and then Asgore shortly afterwards. Do you want to read that to the class, or is that too terrible? You're putting me through torture. I feel like this is fair. This is practice.
All right, fine. So this is the screenshot of Sans saying, the Sans and Toriel doing all the egg puns, like egg on or egg off. I expect a lot from you. And BQ has written, please, for the love of God, give me cis het slop oviposition or give me death. And then Asgore shows up and says, don't forget me, your egg's husband. And you just have killing myself.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, great. Not even doing Omegaverse. Congratulations. I don't think that I can assign them anything.
We are not getting into that conversation.
We're not. Let's not do that today.
We did too much of that in chapter 1.
I know. Well, did we?
We did talk about it in chapter 2.
I thought it was the intro. Fuck. Whatever. Okay. I'll talk about that on my podcast.
You don't have a podcast.
You don't know that.
You've been threatening to start a podcast for like 5 years and you haven't done it.
Yeah, because I don't understand how to edit things.
Okay. Right. Anything else in the run around at the end of the chapter before we get to the sleepover?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Alphys anime reviews. I hate her and want her dead.
One of these days we're going to do an Alphys slander episode. It's going to be a legendary.
I just can't.
We hate Alphys on this podcast.
I'm just like, why? Why do you do this? Why are you like this? I dislike you heavily, you horny little bastard. My Gunnar princess. I think I called her a Gunnar princess in here.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I did. And I bolded it where she says eye candy, I guess. And then it's like, I mean, cops are totally hot, right? But they're also useless. But they're hot. And I'm like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
You are the worst kind of fan.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Rudy is so dying with multiple O's. Don't like that.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about Noelle's parents. About what you know about, Rudy and the mystery mother.
I like Rudy, and I'm really hoping that he actually is a good dad. I need there to be one good dad. Yeah. Right now, it is something that I genuinely would treasure and would be very... It's just, it's a fantastic... but maybe not realistic hope. And I think that he is like dying, or at least it is scary enough where he doesn't know fully what's going to happen, and that kind of hope is starting to fade a little bit. Because in chapter 1, it feels like he's still like, yeah, it's like whatever. And in chapter 2, it's like, hey, so feeling pretty rough about the fact that, I usually balance out Noelle and her mother, or rather her mother's cruelty and or indifference, or what the fuck is happening there. I'm very afraid for Noelle. Part of me is wondering if like Queen is kind of almost like an idealized version of a female authority figure and or mother. I don't know if Queen is necessarily maternal as much as she's like fucking awesome, and not in a cool mom way, but she's just cool, and then actually listens to Noelle.
Yeah.
When Noelle spends like the entire chapter being afraid of her and not wanting to say anything and hiding from her, but then when she actually asks for something, she's respected.
Yeah.
Like, how much of that is because her mother doesn't do that? Like, how much is she having to hide?
Yeah.
Like, does she have to be like perfect? Is that part of the reason why she's constantly trying to be a high achiever? Is she just like put in a weird position because of this?
Yeah.
Like, because like even if like December is out of the picture because of like traumatic reasons, and like losing a child, terrible, holy shit. Do not wish that upon anyone. I know that some people still become very, very cruel after something horrible happens, and it's understandable why. It isn't acceptable. Intent and impact, you know the drill.
Yeah.
So if she's being put on a pedestal, or not even a pedestal, just given these fucking standards that are just impossible to meet. And I don't know, just like Rudy in general being encouraging and supportive. Even though, like, I feel like him trying to help with the video games is actually okay in comparison to everyone else stripping Noelle of agency.
Yeah.
Because that's her dad. They're bonding, and he's still trying to be like, hey, here are the suggestions, but you don't necessarily actually have to do them. I'll just be like, hey, here's a little bit of guidance.
Yeah.
Like, you have all of these things. You have like 99 fire whatevers. Like, it's okay to use them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're being prepared, but it's okay. It's a game.
Yeah.
And then her post Snowgrave just immediately like being like, no, please, I'm doing this. This is my idea. Like, I got to be in control. You can't have the controller.
Yeah.
You know, if she has one person who's really supportive,
Yeah.
and that's the one who balances it out.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. Just damn, dog. Fuck.
So, after your time in hometown, you head back to Kris's house, and you got to sleep over with Susie.
Yeah.
And
Sure do.
Yep, and it's very sweet. First off, I will say it's very sweet.
It is.
And so you know, talk to me about your experience going through that the first time.
Looking at Susie, looking up, just kind of like in wonder upon getting into a home.
Yeah.
It, you know, going over to a kid's house and they have like 2 stories in their house. I don't know if this is like a unique experience.
Oh yeah, I
or-
never had multiple stories growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also, there's a lot of nice stuff in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Or like, even if you go into like a 1-story home,
Yeah.
but it's really nice.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, everything's like clean and organized, and the parents acknowledge you.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is weird, and you don't really know how to interact with parents.
Yeah.
So you're like, do I be like super formal?
Yeah.
And then you try being super formal, and the moment you like try to be like kid, like your child awfulness comes out, and then you immediately have to self-correct
Yeah.
because like you need to be liked.
Yeah.
And then the kindness continues, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you want to do a thing with me? Like, what?
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, is this like a, like, you want to do things with Kris, and I'm just like also kind of here?
Yeah.
But then you get to do the thing with the parents, like, fully? Like, what the hell is this? Why are you giving me attention, random stranger?
Yeah.
Like, and then it's like, oh no, this is just how parents can be.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Miserable. Beautiful, but what it says is miserable.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Susie, I am so sorry that you are Alphys's cat. With the milk.
Yeah,
It's
I know,
funny,
yeah.
but like, it's only funny because Alphys is stupid,
Yes.
okay? It's not funny for Susie. Like,
Yeah.
that... Susie having a fridge and like is first excited about all this random bullshit in there that she just like eats for the love of the game, and then is like, oh, also food. Okay,
Yeah.
well, huh?
Yeah.
Wow,
And-
crazy.
Then Kris goes to wash their hands.
Yeah.
And they've got something else going on.
Yeah, Kris has a lot going on.
Yeah.
I'm more disturbed than the end of chapter 1.
Yeah.
Like, significantly, actually, because, you know, with chapter 1, I was like, okay, Kris really wants agency and finally gets a chance to, you know, have it. Just involves ripping something literally out of their chest.
Yeah.
But here, they rip out the player, okay?
The soul.
Yeah, the soul. And then they go out. They slash their mom's tires. They come back in. And then they put the soul back. Like, that's a very intentional thing. Okay, interesting. Wash his hands.
They cut the phone line, too.
Yeah, they cut the phone line. Yeah. Wander back in. It's all normal.
And they've spent so long doing what they were doing that,
Yeah.
like Toriel's gone. I'm sorry, I don't remember the specifics of the ending, but they've spent so long with this, and it seems like that's a normal thing.
Yeah. I think, you know, there are things about Kris's behavioral issues that they're not making me feel like I was incorrect with my assessments, like earlier on, like in chapter 1, when I was like, ooh, it feels like iffy that Soriel is like, you know, holding this teenager's hand.
Yeah.
I'm starting to like think that maybe things actually are very bad here. Not necessarily in like the special education format that like, you know, I dealt with, which is part of the aversion, but this might be like severe mental health issues. Which, you know, also familiar with, but this just feels terrible.
Yeah.
And it's really scary to watch someone who is in control, but in a way that is not, it's not fine.
And then, I mean, well, and also before, you know, then they open a fucking dark fountain.
Yeah, that was, that made me feel insane. Yeah. That made me feel insane, because then I was like going back to like Queen having the weird like little speech while looking out and talking about, you know,
anyone can make a dark fountain.
Yeah, anyone. Yeah. While like visualizing like the knife and shit. Yeah. And like that, we know that that's Kris's MO at this point. But I'm like, did you do the library thing too? Are you the one who's like doing all this shit? Or are you just inspired by it? Because like the library is recent too. That's the thing. Like this isn't something that was like opened up way back when. Yeah. Or something that, you know, was just like open and then closed and now it's back. Like, unless there is like another actor going on throughout this, but like I don't exactly know who that would be, because I don't know, like fuck, like if I don't know if like December is like not dead but is like just presumed dead or missing or some shit and like just doing it, I mean that's like an angle. Okay, do I agree with it? I can neither confirm nor deny, because if I agree with it, that's great. If I disagree with it, it's acknowledging the reality that Kris might not actually be good, which, you know, cool either way.
Yeah.
But I was more willing to take like blame as the player for Kris's discomfort and general angst and feeling maxing, puppet moding, puppet pilled. This just feels bad.
Yeah.
It feels bad in a fun new way.
Yeah.
I don't want to strip someone of agency. I still don't want to do that, even if Kris is like #twisted. But fuck. That's like, I know when you're a teen, everything kind of feels like it's the end of the world. Or a kid, or whatever. Minors in general. Also your early 20s. Always feels really bad. But then, you know, things get better because you have clarity. You're aging. But in that, you know, that adolescence period, everything is so intense that you're not going to have that, like, hope, right? Or that kind of like, oh yeah, things will be okay. Especially if you're going through it. Like, come the fuck on. Personally, I didn't think I was going to make it past 17. Every year since then has been like, holy shit. It does even out though. I will say that. Like, audience members, in general, it does get better. It will still be hard, but it will be better. I wish I could tell this to Kris. Yeah. I wish I could be like, you can get out of the town.
Yeah.
You can listen to In a Lake by Mitski, and you will understand that you can, in fact, leave the small town and things can get better. There's a huge world all around you that's worth exploring, and there's going to be so many experiences that are going to be so worth it, and you're going to be so fucking glad that you didn't kill yourself. But, you know, you could also just end the world, I guess. Like, I get why.
Yeah.
I get why.
Yeah.
But fuck, it hurts understanding why.
And that's chapter 2.
Teehee.
All right, well, we'll pick up with really, I mean, the next one is going to be really the whole point of this experience, because chapter 3 and 4 released together, and so nobody ever played just chapter 3. But I'm going to get to put you under glass and actually talk to somebody who played chapter 3 but not chapter 4. So I'm really looking forward to having somebody who actually got to experience the end of chapter 3 as a cliffhanger. And I will also, before you start chapter 3, I'll show you the Spimpton sweepstakes, the like ARG stuff that came out in between chapter 2 and 3. Listeners, how great is this? How great is this to be able to hear from somebody, you know, playing chapter 2 for the first time in 2026 and get to experience this. So if you have anything that you think, you know, might be interesting to talk about with somebody who's played chapter 3 but not 4, maybe ping me with that.
Q&A.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a little. Maybe I'll put a Q&A thread together actually when I release that. Yeah, and you don't read that yet.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's all. I'll see you in the outro, everybody. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for subscribing on YouTube. We're over 1,000 subscribers now. That's awesome. Thanks for joining the Discord. That's popping off with super interesting discussions every day. You can find the links to both of those things in the description. And you can subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow the podcast on Blue Sky as well. Thanks so much for being a part of this show, and look forward to future episodes. And thanks for everybody who supports at groupashrike.net. See ya.
Shrike Amalgamated General Productions GmbH